Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to our program for Saturday. And I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. Are you aware that certain things happen automatically of their own? Who is there tonight who wanna share with us? Have you ever been to somewhere you did not know that God will show up, but then automatically something happened that made you know that it is God? Is there anybody? Something very important. I'll give you an example. Lisa, that's her real name, of Missouri. Lisa of Missouri was, for the first time, she was watching our broadcast. And that broadcast was about, Geneva, do you remember the broadcast in which we were talking about that I saw cars falling from heaven and that people can claim new cars? Do you remember that broadcast? Who remembers that broadcast that we had some years ago in which I saw cars falling and people were asked to claim and to seize them? Who remembers that broadcast? It is there on YouTube. You can find it in the internet. Now, Lisa saw the broadcast and she said, okay, I'll just try this. I don't really believe much about this prosperity or miracle things, but I am going to do something about it. So she said, Lord, I claim one of these cars that the prophet of God is seeing. I receive a new car. I am looking for a new car. Her credit was very bad. She was still owing on a bit of car that was not really making her happy. Well, let's see what happened a few days later. Her mother told her that let them go to the car lot the mother wanted to check some new cars or something like that. So they went there. Well, instead of those who sell the car to just focus on her mom, they asked her and they said to her, are you interested in buying a new car? She said, don't even go there because my credit is completely whacked. It's not good. And the man said, well, we can work with you and we'll also make the payment to be cheap for you. And that was what happened. She left that place with a brand new car of that same year. So that was very fascinating. And then when she called me and told me that miracle, I said, behind every miracle is another miracle ready to be born. So why don't you ask God to give you another miracle? So she did it, which she didn't even know what this was all going to amount to. The next week was what was very astounding. What was astounding was that she received a letter in the mail. And in that letter, the old car, they sent her back a check for a certain amount of money. That car, they've canceled the debt that she owed on that car. And they also sent her a letter for her taxes that shows that she's not owing the car company. Now, if you don't call that a miracle, what do you call that? If you do not call that a miracle, what do you call it? Let me see. What do you call that? signs and wonders. Yes. Who is this talking right now? Who is this? Ah, how are you, my lady?
I'm fine.
Good. Okay, I'm going to call you to just make sure that you are okay and so on. All right. Where is Lady Vivian? I hope she's listening to this broadcast. And every one of you who are listening from different parts of the world, I am saying hello to all of you. Hello, hello, hello. Now, I do not want people to follow what I am doing simply because you want to follow a tradition or you just want to belong to something. Follow it because there's something you want to happen to you. A hunter doesn't see the animals, but he or she believes that if they enter the bush, they'll come out with something. The fishermen, they put their net in the water, and they believe that when they come back tomorrow to bring the net out, there will be fishes in it, and they always get something. I'm just showing you how people exercise faith without doing much, without trying to beat up themselves to have it. Have you ever walked into something and suddenly you experienced divine arrangement? You see, my journeys, like I am on a trip right now. Everything I do is for profit. Everything I do, I want to find out some divine arrangements. That's what I'm trying to do. So when you see me enter the plane and fly out, I'm trying to discover something. If it is not something that will give me immediate money right now, it's something that is going to give me money tomorrow. If it is not something that is going to give me an idea right now, it's going to birth an idea tomorrow. In fact, let me tell all of you, even though the task of traveling, the task of families, the task of giving birth to great things is a hard thing. But I want you to know that the results tomorrow will be better than today. I want you to have that, write that down. My tomorrow is better than today. Victoria, are you listening to this broadcast?
Yes, I am.
Good.
My tomorrow is
better. My tomorrow is better than today.
Okay.
Can you repeat that?
My tomorrow is better than today.
And there is no devil or human being that can deprive me of my tomorrow.
And there is no devil or human being that can deprive me of tomorrow.
Amen.
Amen.
Cool. This is getting interesting. Are you aware, people of God, in case you are hearing some noise behind me, it is raining. It is raining very heavily where I am. Now listen to this. Some people have walked into divine arrangement without knowing that there was something that was put together for them. I'll give you an example. In the year 2000, there was a divine arrangement on the earth. It affected angels.
Hallelujah.
Angels were recalled from some people. Let's say that the angel that used to walk with Rosalind was recalled and was asked to go and walk with Victoria. And the angel that was with, say, Geneva was sent to Rosalind. And the angel, say, of Anne was now sent to Geneva. And the angel of Vivian was now sent to Annie. There was a massive, every 7 years. And sometimes at the end of a particular, they call it cycle and seasons back there. There is a massive rearrangement. For example, when you enter like the 1990, there is an arrangement. When you enter the year 2000, there is an arrangement, a reshuffling. I don't know why they do it, why the heavens does that. But it affected me. Because like my coming into America was something that just happened very quickly. And I was wondering why something that takes people a long time to achieve or to do took me like a few weeks. It was over and I was in. There are certain things that are going to happen to you that will happen very quickly. And when you see them happen, you do not really even need to fight. You don't even need to pray. For example, when I wanted to pray about my travels, I was told not to pray. If you guys want to know the truth tonight, I will tell you something. There are certain times I want to pray and the heaven hushed me. They asked me not to pray, that this is not a prayer thing. Why? Because it has already been taken care of. I'm simply walking and ministering or doing business under divine arrangement, whether I know it or not. There's some people who send me money, $2,000 seed, prophet or seer or bishop or whatever they call me. Please pray for me. And I go to the altar to go and pray, and suddenly I hear my word, do not pray, don't do anything at the altar. And I say, why? Rosalind, are you listening tonight? Are you listening to what I'm saying?
Yes, I am.
Good. And I go there. Why I'm mentioning you is because you are very, very close to me, and you know that. And I go to the altar to go and start praying or doing the power things, because there are certain things that are not prayer things but power things. And let me tell you guys tonight, something inside me is very, very happy. I don't know why. Something inside me is very, very happy for some days now. I'm supposed to be very, very tired, but something inside me is very, very happy. Because there's something that I was given many years ago, that when I'm supposed to be down, that thing just pushed me back up. Some days, Rosalind, remind me to talk about the secrecy of remaining at the top. Please write that down. Anne, my wonderful girl and big lover girl and daughter, please write that topic down. The secret of remaining at the top. And I want you to put underneath it joy and happiness. Those are the two big things that you have to remember. Now let's carry on what we are talking tonight. Are you aware that many a times I go to the altar to go and start to pray for people who send me some big seed? I tell the person, sometimes there are people who come to me, what they need is not in the package of the specialized services. Well, and then I tell them, why not go to what we call special services, because what they are looking for is not in the different itemized things. And then some of them say, well, I want to be obedient to God. Instead of sending you $1,000 seed, I'm going to send you $1,500. I want you to use this for the ministry, and this is for you. There's something I realized. People who send me money, there's something God has taught me about how I'm to know those who love me, and those who love me because of the powers and because of the title and because of the miracle, that I should demarcate those who honor me because I am Idika Imeri. They love me for me. And those who love me because of what they get from me. And this is what I've discovered. Those who love me for me, they get quicker miracles than anything. See, there are people who never give me money, except it has to do with business and with ministry. And those people, I have a list for them. There's a special place for them. Then there are those who contribute to ministry, who contribute to my mission, and those who give me money on a personal level. They say, look, this money is for you. It's not for ministry, it's not for mission, it's for you. Or who buy me stuff and said, this is for you. I want to make sure you're taken care of. God said, mark those people because they are special. I will tell you the first person who started thinking about how I am to take care of was Geneva. I always say that as far as my ministry is concerned, that was the first person. And that was not under ministry. Geneva, are you there tonight? Am I right in what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, because she is administrator, so I'm trying to press her. No. It's simply because that's what happened. When we were snowed in for 2 weeks, everything closed down in Wichita, Kansas. And yet FedEx and UPS and United States Post Office found a way to be bringing the packages that this girl was sending. I'm not even talking about Mercy or Mary or Roslyn or Annie or Ladry. I can go on and name people, or Jessica, for that matter, or Samantha, or Major, or Dorothy, or Lee of Australia. I can go on and name certain people, whether it's their real name or not their real name. Does not matter here. Or Tris, or Victoria. See, there are so many of you. Do you know that sometimes I go to the altar to go and start ministering? Boom. Lord, this is the seed this person sent. This is what I want you to do for them. And I'm coming to present this as a living sacrifice in the sacrifice of your son. And suddenly I hear, don't do anything. I wanted to see whether this person loves me and loves you. I said, are you serious? He said, yep. He said, I use money and material resources to see what is inside a person. There was a woman who, she's retired from her job, but what she was getting as pension and benefit from her job was so little. Because of me, she went back to her job. She went back to her job, and that touched the heart of God. God gave her family. God gave her a brand new car. God gave her houses that she never had all the years that she was in full-time work. So sometimes when you hear we talk about financial resources or material resources, it is for God to test who you are. And suddenly, miracle break out. In fact, sometimes my prayer doesn't do the miracle. It is the obedience of the person that is actually kicking the miracle in, making it happen. God said, I wanted to see the obedience of this person, and the rest will be history. The rest will be history. And the rest has always been history. I'll tell you about one of my sons called Kishan. She's so different from other young men. And she's growing. And he is growing. He is so different from other young men, but he is growing. But he is keenly aware of the power of obedience when it comes to obeying God and obeying God through giving and loving. Very, very different. Are you aware that God has arranged certain things in your favor? You don't need to do a whole lot. All you need to do is yielding and walking in what God has asked you to do. It doesn't have anything to do with whether your strength or your weaknesses. It has to do with you are connected to a covenant. You have become a prince or princess with the God of the prince and princess. This is one thing I want you to know, because we are going to go there. The God of prince and princess. Please write that down and remind me to do a broadcast on that. Wherever you see in the Bible, it says God of Israel, remove that and say God of the prince and princess. God of the gods, which means you and angels. Because we are the only one who are qualified for these big things. It's us and angels. Are you aware that many a times God is waiting to see the part you are willing to go? Then divine arrangement will happen to you. You will run into divine arrangement that you didn't prepare for, you didn't pray about, but something you've done in your past. That is why I keep doing good things to people. People sometimes think that I'm stupid, that I'm releasing money, I'm doing some good works here, I'm doing some charity here, I'm helping pay this for people, pay this for people. Is because I'm laying a foundation that can never be destroyed financially. And there is no way God will not reward me. Because I will walk into divine arrangement without knowing it. That's how this thing goes. Let me share with you some of the people in the Bible who have walked into divine arrangement. They didn't ask for it. Number one was Elijah. 1 Kings 17. Read it. He walked into divine arrangement twice. At the brook Cherith, he was asked to go there. To the widow of Zarephath, he was asked to go there. And he walked straight into divine arrangement. As he was entering the gate, the widow was there gathering stick. When I will start talking to you about the miracle of the flow, I've talked a little bit about it, but I'm going to tell you more about how the impossible happened, because many of you do not know. I'll tell you about another person. Saul, the first king of Israel. The animals were loosed and ran away, the animals of his father. And so Saul, with his servant, went about looking for those animals. Because some of the places were bush and so much more. So he went looking for it with his servant until they entered into a city. And then the servant said to Saul, well, there is a prophet in this place. That is Prophet Samuel. Why don't we go and inquire of the seer, the one who sees? So what did they do? Well, Saul said, we don't have money, because one of the laws of something good happening to you, you never approach a seer without an offering. Because that is how he was maintained. Let me tell you something that you need to know. Please, Geneva, make sure you write it down, Annie, and the rest of you, and Mary, and Roslyn. Why you need the person with the extra eye to be part of your life. Because in the other camp, they need someone with whatever they call the third eye, which is actually a demon. In the sight of God, you need a seer. And that is why the kind of work I do, which we call the work of supernatural direction, is very, very important. Because we are rare. We don't come easy. Because it will take everything from you. And that is why there is a place that I'm afraid about me, that I'm going to reach. All I pray is that God do not take me away from people that I seem to depend on or love or care about, because sometimes it reaches that place because of certain cloud, certain glory that is given to you, and the jealousy of God become too heavy on you, and then every money and material resources you need is given to you, and then everyone is kept away from you. I mean, you are with them, but you don't have any strong relationship with people. It's all based on the glory. So that's gonna be a difficult thing, but it sounds like I'm being prepared for such a thing. So let's continue, because I want you to know this tonight. Seeing was so important in ancient time. We are not talking about with your physical eye, but with the Holy Ghost, with the Spirit of God, or with demons in the other camp. So important. I have seen what is going to happen in this country in a few weeks' time, in a few months' time, during this year and the years to come. And that's why when we will put up the fasting for champions, please get money and attend it. Because I'm going to tell you the secrecy of what you are going to do when certain things begin to happen. And it's only for those who are the prince and princess, the little gods on the earth that God has kept them for himself. So when Saul said they don't have money to give to the prophet, to Prophet Samuel, the servant said, I have silver here. You know how important that was. I have silver here and so on. Let's go. So they went in to go and see Samuel. And so they asked somebody, where is the seer? Where is the prophet in this city? How are we going to find him? Oh, the person said, he is just ahead of you. So you see, you start seeing divine arrangement. Saul was not fasting. Saul was not praying. Saul was not paying tithe as out of a sense of legalism. I do not give tithe or offering out of legal obligation to God. I give out of a sense of passion for divine love and the love of humanity. People of God, listen to me. Saul, we are not told that he was even a godly person. Because from the word go, when you look at his way of life, you will see that he was a very arrogant man. His beauty, I will use that word, or his handsomeness, whatever. Maybe the wealth of his family, his tallness, his strength of force, that is physical power, his love for power and control and greed all got into him. You can see it playing out one after the other. Like, I am the most favored. Yay. So listen carefully to this. He did not know that there was a divine arrangement. He didn't know. Some people become leaders of their nation, like presidents and kings, and they think it was just because of their intellect or because they are good thieves. They are good thieves or good manipulators or good liars. And they have no idea what is the engine running behind the scene for their judgment, for their destruction, for their death, or for their blessing. They have no idea. But I can see that. And this is one of the things that makes my job very difficult, is God's allowing me to see certain things. Like, I will see people lying to me, but since we are not allowed to talk about what we see about people, you just stomach that in and let the person tell you all the lies they want to tell you. But you just behave like you don't. And that's why sometimes it's almost like you feel sick because of what you see. And those are sometimes there are people that you have to deal with. You have to meet every day. You have to talk to in a business or ministerial forum. But you have to behave like you don't know anything. Because that's how God behaves. Because it is the glory of God to keep secrets. And human beings think that it is their glory to reveal it. So as they were approaching Saul, as they were approaching Samuel, Saul and his servant were approaching Samuel, there was Samuel. He did not do anything to qualify for divine arrangement. How much more you, who is born again and spirit-filled and prophesying and speaking in a different language of the supernatural world. Or sometimes it is a language from this physical planet that is long gone or is still being spoken, but God has decided that your spirit become a member of that particular planet or tribe or racial group, and you didn't learn it. Or the angelic realms, or the language of the stars, etc., or the language of heaven. Everything is talking. Everything is listening. That's why you can talk to mountains, you can talk to water. Type in "talk to things" by Idika Imeri. You will see some of the brokers have done along that line. Finally, when Saul and his servant were in the presence of Samuel, there was already a banquet ready. So Samuel saw Saul long before Saul came into town. And Samuel asked for a banquet to be prepared. Some animals was cooked, baked. Food was prepared. Because the house of the prophet was a house of feasting also. It was not just a house of prayer, but it was also a house of feasting. And the most choicey part of the meat and food was kept for Samuel and for Saul. And Saul did not know what was about to happen to him. He thought he was coming to see, can I use a word, to use, or that through the seer, the prophet Samuel, he'll be able to recover his father's animal, go to where they are, and then take them back home. But that was not to be the case. That was not to be the case, but listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Instead, Samuel told him, the animals have been found. So, God used animals that ran away. We don't know, donkeys, camels, whatever. Animals that ran away was what God used to lead Saul into divine arrangement for him to be a king. At that point of time, Saul was a very good spirit. Because let me tell you, all it takes for God to find who you are really, not that he doesn't know, but to expose you, is when he gives you power, position of authority, when he gives you children, when he gives you money, riches, and opportunities. Then the real you will be exposed. Because that's what happened to King Saul. I will never trust you until you are in a position of big money, houses, many cars, investments, businesses, or a position of authority, of power. That's when we can know who you are. Because while you are broke, while you don't have a lot of money, you can tell anybody, you can prophesy anything, minister anything. If there is something that I have conquered, and I can boast of it, I have conquered money, and I have conquered power. it will never get to me. I will still be the Idika Imeri that you know now. I will still be that tomorrow. If I saw money and walked away in a congregation in order to go and be a professor, to train pastors, then I don't think there is anything. I mean, this is what my colleagues will fight and kill anybody to walk away from where you are having a lot of money. That's how I began to know who I am in the inside. You can judge what I do outside, but you cannot judge my interior motives for things. You cannot. Do you know, Saul was led from the street, from another town that he came into town to come and look for a prophet. He was led into the upper chamber where the elders of the city were waiting. They will not start eating until the stranger that Samuel talked about arrives. You see, I'm putting together for you how divine arrangement happens. That's why I'm talking to you tonight. If you're a child of God, stop rushing for anything. Stop rushing for anything. Because if you understand the concept of divine arrangement, you will no longer worry yourself about anything or anybody. You will be calm and gentle and sweet. It's not about hope or faith. It's about that there is a divine arrangement and it will manifest. Now listen to this. When Saul came, then the people were able to sit down. And then Saul was led to go and sit at the head. He was led to go and sit at the head of the table with Samuel. And like that, from nobody, Saul became a somebody. All because it was divinely arranged for him. Samuel said, "For who was the best places of Israel kept for, but for you?" Somebody has seen your tomorrow. And stop getting offended about your yesterday and today. Because God has seen your tomorrow. And not only God alone that has seen it. The kingdom of darkness has also seen it. And that's why they are trying to discourage you from walking into your divine arrangement. Someone's family lost an animal and they went to go and look for it. And he walked into being a king and became anointed to be a king. And you are here worrying yourself over nothing. Many of you are thinking and thinking and thinking until you go crazy over nothing. That thinking will not make your situation better. It will make it even worse. Think about that. Somebody walked into a divine arrangement without fasting, without praying, without tithing, without a script, nothing planned. He didn't plan anything about his life except to be a good worker to his father, to make sure that his father's business was kept intact. God is watching what you are doing right now. Because what you are doing right now, and you are doing it consistently, is going to result in what God is going to divinely arrange for you and trust you with. That will give you everything. I hope you are listening. Rosalind, are you listening to this? This is very beautiful. This is for you tonight.
very intensely.
Very, very, this is very deep. Vivian, if you are listening, this is for you. Mary, my love, if you are listening tonight, this is for you. Annie, this is for you. Janine, Sharon, Antoinette, many of you around the world, listen carefully. You are going for one thing and you will not know that God is leading you into something that has been arranged and put together for you. This is some of the biggest ministration that I've ever done that I'm doing tonight. I didn't fast, I didn't pray. The best things in my life, as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It doesn't necessarily need to be God's things. But these are like your job, your normal job. You go and do it consistently without complaining. God is watching. And you will be walking down the street, going to just run an errand, and you may not know that you walked. God has carefully planned your steps. The steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. That should be your prayer. Father, ordered my steps. The ordering of steps is what we call divine arrangements. That's how it is. If you think that when Gabriel said, with God nothing is impossible, and Jesus said, for with God all things are possible, let me tell you. I mean, it could be the other way around. I can switch it the other way around. But listen to this. If you don't believe that the Holy Ghost is the God of the impossible, then you need to. Then I don't know why you're following Jesus. I am into ministry and into business today because of what God told me about who I am and what He's gonna do with me. I didn't ask Him to tell me all those things, because the best things of my life, I've walked into them without knowing, or they just happened to me. Hallelujah. I'm telling you about how people have walked into heavy miracles. This week has been one of the most intense week of my life, because I needed two things to be confirmed. One was about what I'm about to do in terms of raising the champions, the prince and princess. How am I gonna do this? Because I do not want to keep talking or preaching. I hate preaching and I hate talking. I enjoy supernatural direction. How am I going to raise them without the burden of it tearing me apart? How is it going to be done? And then there were certain things I was told at my retreat. And this week it was confirmed that this is what you are going to do. Another one. If I am going to travel fast and do business and ministry very quickly and go back home and rest, then I am going to need an executive private jet to fly around the world. And I said to God, I need a confirmation. And two people called me and began to talk to me about these things. And that has been confirmed. Because what you are able to see is what you are able to get. And to see is not just you trying to have faith, but God trying to plant faith in you by allowing you to see it. You are able to see what is coming.
Amen, Bishop.
Even before it arrives, you know it. There are some of you that I have seen driving a brand new Lexus, others driving a brand new Jaguar, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, flying your own jet, having houses. I've seen it. And that's why I'm talking about it. I'm not talking about it because I'm trying to make you to believe. No. Or send me money. No. It's because I have seen some of you sitting on your executive chair and backing orders to your staff. I've seen it. I've seen some of you owning your own businesses. I've seen it. If I have not seen it, I will not be talking about it. Pierre, this is true. Pierre, this is true. There are some of you because you were so broken by what happened in the past that God himself decided that even if Satan should come to the heavenly realm to come and report to you, God is just like, when are you going to be tired of bringing this person's situation to my court? Because I cannot entertain you anymore. Please stop coming here to talk about this person.
Hallelujah.
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 So listen to what I'm talking about tonight. Because we are talking about Saul tonight. The next time we are going to begin to look at Ruth. We are going to begin to look at Abigail. When Abigail met David, David was an immigrant in his own country. He was a refugee. He was a nobody. In fact, the husband of Abigail insulted and disrespected David. Please, whoever is on that phone, please, can you get away from your phone a little bit more? Because we are hearing every little noise you are making. So please listen carefully. The husband of Abigail disrespected David and insulted him. But yet, Abigail saw in David the kind of a man that has been anointed to become a king. And she also saw in him the kind of a man that she would have loved to marry. And she told David, when you become a king, do not forget me. In fact, let me tell you what you need to know. David did not propose to marry Abigail. Abigail proposed to David. Esther made all the moves to marry the king, not the king to marry Esther. Ruth made the move to marry Boaz. I can go on naming women and what they did to get married because they saw in that person their future. And they did not toy. They didn't toy with that person anymore. I mean, Abigail was still in marriage when she went out and met David in secret to talk over their future. Go and read the Bible, you'll see it. For those of you who believe in too much holiness, that's what I call it. And that holiness is what I call crap and stupidity. If smart girls who are worth nothing are able to see in somebody the future and they run after, and that person become that thing and they sit down to enjoy, and you who is supposed to be a Christian and born again, you are sitting down there and waiting. Oh, the man will come and talk to me. That's the way we were brought up. Nobody asks me out. This, that. The Persian dog eat the fattest bone, and the Persian dog stays there, neither ate nor had bone, nor even saw the fattest bone, and the dog died. Roslyn, that sounds like you. Roslyn, why are you repeating yourself in me? Uh-huh.
Never heard it put that way.
Yep. They asked Rebecca, in our tradition, I'm telling you what the father And the brothers and sisters said, in our tradition, you are supposed to stay. Let's celebrate this marriage that you are going. You don't even know the guy you are going to meet and so on. Let's stay for some days. Stay with us like the tradition is required. Or do you want to just run off and go and meet the man? She said, I'm going. I'm not staying anymore. They said, wow, really? She said, yes. And she left. You want to follow this man? She said, yes. And that was the right move. I will be telling you things about divine arrangement so that you can get it. And stop bullying yourself and killing yourself over church and ministries and money and trying to win God's favor. Whereas when God wants to show you favor, he set aside all these things. All your tithing and giving and loving and prayer and reading the Bible and fasting, all of them is God watching to see whether you've yielded, whether you're loving, whether you're kind, or whether you mean business. But when he's coming to bless you, he set aside all those things because he used those things to try to see your obedience, to try to know who you really are. Hallelujah.
Amen. Hallelujah. Amen.
Amen. Why was out of a woman that was supposed to be an adulterer with David? Why is it that it was out of a womb that Solomon came, the next king came? Have you never thought of that? Everybody condemned David and Bathsheba. Abigail was there. And other women that David married were there, and their children. And God did not go there to go and pick a king. God is looking at the level and the depth of your love and caring, and not the level and the depth of your religion and your religiosity or spiritual life. The level of your loving and caring is what God is looking at. The level of your seriousness is what God is looking at. And then he will put into place divine arrangements to happen to you. You will be thinking that you are going to the East Coast to go and do this, and you do not know that you are walking into a divine arrangement for something completely different.
I claim that.
You'll be going to the West Coast, and you will not know what is already in store for you. Many of you are regretting, oh, I wish that I am like my parents. I wish like I'm like my grandfather, my grandmother. I wish like I am like the Jones across the street. They have been married for 50 years. They have been married for 100 years. They have been married for 30 years. They have been married for 18. I would have loved to be that. I do not, this divorce business, it makes me look bad. I feel like I'm a failure. I would have wished to have stayed in that job for so many years and retire from that job, and you start to beat the crap out of yourself. And then other people, when the devil see you doing that, he will now come and bring his own people to help, to rub it into you, and you start getting depressed and feel bad. And you do not know that when you walked out, God walked with you and started arranging the real life that you've never had. Please listen to me. Many of you who have gone through divorces should stop that business of talking about your divorces, because heaven doesn't know anything about divorce. Many of you, I have gone to the archive of heaven to go and look for your divorce record. There is none. In fact, many of you who are divorced, I have gone to where my angel, I call Gabriel my angel. Anybody can lay claim to anything, but I call this one my angel, my archangel. He is God's archangel, but he is mine because I belong also to his I belong to his department. Many of you will not understand what I'm saying. That is why what I do is easy for me, because I belong to somebody there. I do not just belong to Jesus, but I come under an authority of an archangel. That's what makes my life easier. That's why my kind of ministry is patterned after his ministry. There is a divine arrangement. I have gone into the archive of marriages. Many of you who are in marriages, I look at I ask you, give me your husband, your ex name. And I got either the husband or the wife, and I went in there and said, you guys should check this out for me. Your name was not found in the marriage registry of the supernatural. You are not even there. That's why many of you, I was married, and I say, you do this, shut up, you've never been married. When did you get married? He said, I got married in 1980. I got married in 1965. I got married in da-da-da-da-da. And now I'm divorced. I said, really? I said, let me go and check your marriage record. And I go up there only to see that you are not there. Nobody knows you there. And you are here beating yourself about how your marriage collapsed, how this happened, how that happened. Some of you are beating yourself over your kids. And you do not know that there are two kinds of kids that comes into the world. Those who come to use you as a highway to pass on, and those who come to bless you. And then there are also kids that other people gave birth to, but God has made them to become your kids. And they are going to bless you. You think that your kids are only those who came from your womb. Are you kidding me? Or your siblings are those who came from the same father and mother. Are you kidding me? When you begin to understand the concept of divine arrangement, you will see. And do not fail to put that to remind me of us making a book out of this divine arrangement. Please, please, please. Yeah. Geneva, are you listening to this? Please remind me, okay? Yeah. Even when bad things happen, weaknesses are found. Are you able to ask God? In fact, write that down. How God can use bad thing that has happened to you and turn it into a divine arrangement. All things work it for good to them that love God. Somebody took Abraham's wife, the Pharaoh, and out of that encounter, the man repaid Abraham, and Abraham became wealthy. All things working for good. Have you asked God that every evil thing that has happened in my life, oh Father, turn them into a divine arrangement? Have you done that? And you are sitting down to be crying and getting moody and sad. God will have to forgive you. God will have to forgive you. Many of you are planning, if it doesn't work out, you are going back to your last job, you are going back to the last marriage, you are going back to go and revisit the old places. Are you serious? Have you asked God to turn everything into a divine arrangement? Just wait until we begin to talk about walking into people that you didn't plan for. I want us to stop this here. We will continue. Please do pray for me. Do pray for me, because you may not know. There might be a training, a prayer conference, a retreat, or something that is coming your way. I may not plan for it. I may not plan for it. I may not broadcast it. But boom, it happened, and the next day I'm out. I'm flying to somewhere. And when I arrive at your city, I will tell you I'm there. And then if you want it, you come. And God will give you what you want. Lord, I release a divine arrangement into the life of all my partners. Let them without knowing it, like Saul, walk into what was arranged for them without knowing it. Bypass protocol. Oh, I like it. Please, can you write that down for me? How God or how to bypass the protocols of humans and the protocols of the heavenly realms. Because there are things in the heavenly realms that has a lot of protocols. You have to ask God to bypass the protocols, bypass the laws, and give you what you want by doing divine arrangement. God will bypass protocols and bypass human laws and wickedness and witchcraft by doing divine arrangement for you. How many of you want divine arrangement tonight? How many people want it? Let me hear you say.
I want it.
Okay.
I want it.
Okay.
Yes.
I want you to lift up your hand and shout, I got it. I got it. I got it.
I got it. I got it. I got it by divine arrangement.
Thank
Amen.
you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
Go home in peace and start this week that we have entered in power. Stop blaming yourself. Tonight, God is going to visit some of you and heal you of deep-seated pains. Pains you've been carrying and pretending. God is going to destroy it out of your life. Things that, fears that are unfounded, is going to destroy it of your life. You have a wonderful night. And I will see you. Yeah, and I will see you guys very soon. Thank you very much. And for those of you, who are in the Atlanta area in the United States, please start getting prepared in the next 2 weeks. After Chicago, we have changed course. After Chicago, we are coming to Atlanta in March. We are coming to Atlanta. So if you live in the Atlanta area, those of you who are my partners, I am going to be anointing people. This will be crazy. What I'm doing, in case you don't understand what is happening, is that it takes a few hours for God. It takes a second for God to talk to me and say, I want you to be there tomorrow. So that's why I'm trying to make sure I do my office work, send out all the packages, because you never know the next move. Because I told him some years ago, I would like to travel for you. And when you pray that prayer, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. And there are some travel that I want to talk to those who are very close to me, where I'm going, and God will tell me, don't say anything to anybody. Go. And don't call anybody until you are done with my business. So for those of you who get upset, I didn't tell you, I'm hating, I didn't tell you, you better not get yourself into what you have no idea about. Because there is a side of me that is very mysterious and strange to even myself. I wish you a very pleasant night, wonderful dreams, and I wish you a very good weekend. And if God said to you that you should support the ministry or support me or our mission, go ahead and do that. The miracle will not be because of the money. Some people give because they want to get prosperity. I give out of obedience for the love of God and for the love of somebody that I'm doing something for. And when God sees that, He gives you everything you want for today and tomorrow. Good night.
Good night. I wish the same to you, Bishop.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.